Okay, today we are talking about fraction expressions in our learning target. You can apply order of operations, but that's not really what you're doing today. Today you're going to be able to evaluate fraction powers and decimal. That is our learning target. And we need to know how to do that before we can apply order of operations, because order of operations tells us that exponents are pretty important. They're a level 2 in simplifying an expression. So we need to know how to simplify with fractions. Fraction power just means repeated multiplication. And when you multiply fractions, you just go top times top over bottom times bottom. So 2/3 squared means I'm going to go 2/3 times 2/3. Which is 2 times 2 is 4 over 3 times 3 is 9. So top times top over bottom times top. 1/2 cubed means I'm going to go 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. Top times top times top over bottom times bottom times bottom. So that's going to be 1 over 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. 1/8. Fraction powers. Just keep multiplying. And then we bump it up to negative fraction bases. There's 2 situations that can occur when it's a negative base. It's either inside parentheses or outside parentheses. If it's inside it, it means that it lives with the base, meaning you're going to bring it along with you when you multiply. If it's outside, it just means it's always going to be negative. It really means -1 times 3/4 squared. This does not mean that. Okay, if it's negative outside, you keep it negative. You're going to go 3/4 squared, make it negative. Here, I'm going -3/4 times -3/4, which is a positive 9/16. I'm going to erase this quick. So a -3/4 squared means I do 3/4 squared, 3/4 times 3/4. I'm going to do it down here, which is 9/16, and then I make it negative. So if it's inside, it travels with it. If it's outside, you keep it negative. You evaluate, make it negative. There's a trick to know if it's going to be positive or negative when it's inside by the power of the exponent. If it's an even exponent, it's going to be positive. If it's an odd exponent, it will be negative. If it's a part of the base, if it's inside the parentheses. The reason that is because we think about pairing up negatives. And if you have an even amount, you can pair up negatives, so it will be positive. If you have an odd exponent, you will have a negative left out. Okay, so then I have some practice ones. -2/5 squared. Is the negative inside the parentheses or outside?
Outside.
Right, so I'm going to go 2/5 squared, and then I'm going to just make it negative, which is -4/25. If it's outside parentheses, it's always negative. -1/4 squared. Inside parentheses, that means it comes with it. So this is going to be -1/4 times -1/4. -1 times -1 is +1 over 16. -1/2 cubed. The negative is inside parentheses, so it's traveling with it. negative 1/2 times negative 1/2 times negative 1/2. Top times top times top over bottom times bottom times bottom. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1 times negative 1 is just 1. Negative. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. So negative 1 times negative 1 is positive. Positive 1 times negative 1 is negative. I don't personally like dealing with the negative. I usually deal with it at the end. I would figure out 1/2 cubed, and then I'd say, is it going to be positive or negative? That's when I'd look right there. It's odd, so I know my answer should be negative. That's personally how I deal with these. 1/2 cubed, negative 1/2 cubed. It's outside, and outside means that it's always going to be negative. So 1/2 cubed, 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2, and then I'm just going to make it negative. Negative 1/8. Okay, that's fraction powers. They get tricky with the negative, so be careful there. Now we have decimal powers. I kind of like decimals. It's quick to do decimals. So with decimal power, you do the number that's a part of the decimal to the given power. For example, if you had 0.02 squared, I would do 2 squared. I'd evaluate that. 2 squared is 4. And then I would determine, if you remember decimals, you have to count how many digits are to the right of the decimal and make that many digits to the right of the product. So I would need to figure out if I had 2 decimals to the right and I squared it, so I did it twice, I should have 4 decimals to the right. So I do my 4, and then I know I need 4 to the right, so I add 3 placeholder zeros. So I do the number to the power and then determine how many to the right it should be. 0.1 squared. So I do 1 squared. What's 1 squared?
1.
Now I determine my decimal. If I'm doing it twice, it's going to be 0.1 times 0.1. There should be 2 spots to the right of the decimal. .02 cubed. I do 2 cubed is what? 2 times 2 times 2, 8. Now I figure out how many spots. Now look, you could also do it this way if you want. And just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots should be to the right. So I have 1, I need 5 placeholder zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make up. Huh? What's that? Number of spots. Michael's noticing that you see there should be 2 spots. You have it 3 times, so a total of 6. I have 1 spot. I do it twice. 1 times 2, 2 spots should be to the right. Okay, 0.4 cubed. 4 cubed is, I always forget, 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is what? 48? 50? Oh gosh. 16 times 4, 24, 64. So that's my number. Now I determine spots. So again, you could go like this. Give yourself a visual. 1, 2, 3 spots. So 1, 2, placeholder 0, 3 spots. Or, you know you have 1 spot to the right, times it by the 3 that you're multiplying by. Okay, 0.03 is 9. Now determine my decimal spots. So I'd have like a 0.03. I should have 1, 2, 3, and 4 spots to the right. I have 1 spot, I need 3 placeholder zeros. Or you could go 2 spots to the right times the 2 that I multiplied by. So you know you should have 4. 0.01 to the 4th power. I always get this one wrong when I was doing IXL because it's a silly mistake. I always put 4 instead of 1. 1 to the 4th is 1. You don't multiply them. And then, oh goodness, I'm going to have a lot. 2 spots times the 4 times I'm multiplying it by, 8 spots should be to the right. So I'm going to need some room. I need 7 placeholder zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh no, 0.002 cubed. 2 cubed is 8. And now I gotta deal with my decimal. So 3 times 3 spots is going to be 9 spots to the right. So I need 8 placeholder zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's my learning target today. Do you feel like you can evaluate fraction powers, yes or no?
Yes.
With negative bases, yes or no?
Yes.
Decimal powers?